welcome back to Thinking Out Loud. In today's episode, we're diving into something that affects so many of us: anxiety. If you've ever felt that overwhelming rush of worry, that knot in your stomach, or the constant feeling of being on edge, you're not alone. Anxiety is something that many of us experience, and it's much more than just a feeling of stress. So let's take a closer look at what's really happening in your brain when anxiety takes over. So, what is anxiety? Anxiety is more than just feeling worried about something. It's a physiological response that starts in the brain, but can show up in every part of your body. When you're anxious, your brain is responding to a perceived threat, even if that threat isn't really there. It's like your brain is on high alert, scanning the environment for danger, even if there's nothing to be afraid of. Think about it. When you feel anxious, you might experience racing thoughts, heart palpitations, sweaty palms, or even trouble breathing. That is your body's fight or flight response kicking in. But here's the thing. This survival mechanism was designed for real physical danger, like encountering a tiger. In today's world, it's often triggered by stress, work, or even social situations, things that aren't actually life-threatening. So what's going on in the brain when you're anxious? It all starts with the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure deep inside your brain. That's responsible for processing emotions and especially fear. When you encounter something stressful or scary, your amygdala fires up and sends a signal to your hypothalamus, which then activates your sympathetic nervous system. This is what causes the physical symptoms of anxiety. But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes the amygdala overreacts. It starts to sound the alarm even when the danger isn't real. This is where anxiety disorders can take hold. Your brain starts associating normal situations like a meeting at work, a crowded street, or even just a random thought with fear. Over time, these signals can get stronger, and that's when anxiety becomes more than just an occasional feeling. It can become overwhelming and constant. When anxiety takes over, it doesn't just affect how you feel physically. It can cloud your thinking and emotions. Your brain starts to filter out information through the lens of fear. You might start imagining the worst case scenario, even if there's no real evidence to support it. This is often why people with anxiety feel stuck in a loop of what if thoughts that seem impossible to escape. It's important to note that anxiety isn't just about feeling scared. It can lead to chronic stress, which affects the brain's ability to function properly. For example, high levels of stress can damage your hippocampus, which is the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning. This might explain why anxiety can sometimes make it harder to concentrate or remember things. Anxiety and depression often go hand in hand. If you're living with anxiety, you might also experience depression and vice versa. Why? Because both conditions are rooted in similar brain areas like the amygdala, and both involve changes in brain chemicals such as serotonin and dopamine. When your brain is constantly in a state of high alert due to anxiety, it can wear you down emotionally and eventually lead to feelings of hopelessness or sadness, which are hallmarks of depression. So, what can you do when anxiety takes hold? There are a lot of ways to manage it. First, let's talk about some of the science-backed methods that can help reduce anxiety. Mindfulness and meditation. These practices can help activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that helps regulate emotions. They can help you step back from anxious thoughts and gain perspective. Secondly is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT helps you recognize and challenge the negative thought patterns that fuel anxiety. It's one of the most effective therapies for anxiety. Thirdly is physical exercise. Exercise can reduce anxiety by releasing endorphins, which are natural mood boosters. It can also help regulate your sleep, which is often disrupted by anxiety. Medication. In some cases, doctors may recommend medication to help manage anxiety. These medications, like SSRIs, can help balance the brain chemicals that are out of whack. So, there you have it, a glimpse into what happens in your brain when anxiety strikes. It's not just in your head, it's a real physiological process. And it's important to remember that anxiety doesn't define you. It's a part of your brain's natural response system, but it can be managed with the right tools and support. If you're dealing with anxiety, know that you're not alone. There's help available and things can get better. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the brain today. I hope this episode gave you a little more insight into the science of anxiety, and maybe even a sense of relief that it's all part of a much bigger picture. Take care of your brain, and I'll see you in the next episode.